Very warm welcome to you, everyone who is watching me from every part of this world where you are. I'm called your tutor Mark and this is my YouTube channel. Today we are handling Tuesday class job market, and today I have a very pickable topic that I want us to discuss, especially to the job seekers or the employers or the employees, or we can say people who are already working. As a staff, we have different vicious circles of development, especially psychological platforms, okay? How we develop from platform to platform, and that one entitles or maybe marks the end result of our performance at work. It therefore means that as a worker or as an employee, your results are normally determinant of the attitude you possess during the practical kind of work. Now, according to the research or the interviews I've done, or maybe the relationship I've had with several colleagues at work, and also the employers and some of the managers and some of the HR personnel, I have come to discover that there is a proper or step-by-step stages under which each and every employee undergoes. If you start following the life of somebody who is employed from the beginning, let's say out of a training college or out of a training school, there are different stages by which an individual develops. We call it evolvement, or transition. So as a normal human being, and if you have been viewing some of my clips, there's a time I talked about the ego. Ego is a character that each and everybody possesses, but how you control it determines the end result of your behavior or the end result of your character. Now, if ego is too much, that is again becomes a pride, which is not okay. If it is too low, again, it is a low self-esteem, meaning that you will lack the driving power to the purpose you are focusing on. Now, the same issue also applies to the workers. These workers, not each and every individual undergoes the same process in the same way. Processes might be the same, stages might be the same, but how you overcome them or how you handle them up really depends on the personal attitude and the personal character. So please join me. I have 15 main stages in the vicious circle. I call it vicious because you will see at the last stage that we'll be talking about will resemble again the first stage at the beginning. So just like a vicious circle of poverty or vicious circle of development, this is also a vicious circle or a vicious life of an employee. Now, I have 15 main stages, and to get more details about that, please stay with me and don't change that dial. Thank you for the subscribers, those who are supporting me. We are growing, and I say that this platform very soon is going to be an international platform where we enlighten ourselves, not education. Education we have had, yes, but we are struggling for the knowledge which the Bible of God is talking about. My people perish due to lack of knowledge. That is what we want to spread throughout this world, so that we live a very, very critical example, which is a mind transformation in this world. So stay with me, please bring people, watch my videos, like my videos, share them, and more also subscribe. Now, welcome. Today's theme, I entitled it as vicious circle or vicious life of an employee. What do I mean by vicious life of an employee? These are just temporarily, or I can call them the temporal stages of which through my research I've come up with, and I've grouped them into 5 main stages under which an employee undergoes. That's why I call it a vicious circle, because it's like a circle, it's like a life experience that starts at a given stage and again ends almost at the beginning point where it was done before. Now, let's see stage number 1 that a person or an employee has to undergo. Stage number 1 is normally optimism. Okay, some people call it optimism or being optimistic, meaning you hope for something. We are going to see how that one affects the life of a job seeker or a staff. Number 2, we'll talk about the excitement stage, then the thrill or the feeling of over excitement stage, then the euphoria. Which stage is this in the life of a staff? Then we'll be talking about the anxiety. Anxiety is that feeling of fear of the unknown. We are going to see how that one affects also the performance of a staff. That is, then the denial stage. Then another group, group number 7, I have the fear. Then number 8, I have desperation. Desperation is also a stage, a very important stage of a staff that you have to consider. Then we have the panic stage, and then capitulation. We are going to see what that stage is and some of the effects on that. Then we talk about the despondency. Despondency, not respondency. Despondency. You are going to see what that stage is about. Then depression. Then after that, number 13, we're talking about hope. Then number 14, the relief. And last, number 15 is again optimism or being optimistic. Now, what do I mean by stage number 1? You know, most of us, when we are in a technical colleges or maybe the highest high school or the grade school, when we are hoping to get job, we are developing optimism. And if you watch my clip number, I think episode 57, I was talking about anticipation. Anticipation is a driving power which comes in you with right expectation after doing a certain something over many times, so that you have known the system, you are known the paths, you know the potholes, and you know even how to avoid them. So when you are anticipating something, it means that you are over or you are experienced, you have the ability, and then you have skills on that particular thing. Now, when I was comparing the children games versus the elders game, children beat us in their games because they have done it again and again, meaning that they have mastered the ways. They are in the system. They know the loopholes. They know what when applies doesn't work and what when applies work. So when you play with them, of course, they will win you because they have what is called anticipation. Now, for us, people who are looking for employment or people who are finishing school hoping to get attached somewhere, we develop what is called optimism. If you don't have optimism or if you're not optimistic, then it means that you don't have any target. Everybody wants to live a better life, that is. So long as you are eyeing a better life, it means you are optimistic. Now, this is a hopeful or a confident situation about the future. Any other staff, or for us HR personnel, we are trained during recruitment that one of the skill of knowing a better candidate is to identify whether the candidate is optimistic or not. No wonder we'll pose you questions like, where do you see yourself in 5 years to come? It means, therefore, if you cannot answer that question, you are not optimistic. Vicious circle stage number 2, excitement. Now, after developing a future, after making a vivid description of what you are hoping for, what we call optimism, you are now over-excited or you become excited about it. Now, this excitement is a driving power. Remember, it again relates with the what? With the ego we were talking about. If this ego is low or is this ego is high, again, by the end of the day, it has to be controlled at the neutral level. So, when you are optimistic, you become excitement about the future you are thinking of. Stage number 3 is called thrilling stage, or the thrilling, being thrilled. This is a feeling of excitement, pleasure. You want to jump into something. And again, there's a clip that I presented whereby you don't wait for all lights to turn green. All street lights will never turn green at the same time. Left side will be green, right side will be red. So if you're a person who is at the junction waiting for all lights to turn green, it will never happen. Now, what do we do at that moment? Once you have developed your optimism, and then you are excited about it, you have to develop the thrilling force. This is a throwing or a pushing factor that will make you plunge into it. Plunge into deep and let that water be over you. Don't wait. There will be nothing, there will be no situation that is 100% perfect. So don't wait for everything to be perfect about you before you become thrilled. Stage number 4, euphoria. Now, what is euphoria? The basic definition of euphoria is just a maximum action risk. Or euphoria is, is the experience. We say, or the pleasure or excitement at intense feeling. Remember, you are optimistic, then you are excited, and then you are thrilled about it. All these forces, when put together, you go to the stage that is called euphoria. Euphoria now means you have all these characters. It means that you are ready to take any kind of risk that comes across you. That ability, that power of a staff to overcome that risk or to plunge into the deep, let whatever comes, that stage is called euphoria. So those are some of the best stuff we can be talking about, and no wonder we say anybody who cannot take risk cannot develop. We take risk because we are hoping for the best. We take risk because we are excited about it, and then we take risk because we have a pushing power that is thrilling power. Number 5, we are now anxiety. Once we develop euphoria, meaning that we have taken a risk, we now develop the anxiety. Anxiety is just like you are really eager, waiting to see the end result. Here, you are a staff that maybe your boss or your employer told you not to do this because the end result will be A, B, C, D. But you, with your own skills, you have seen that if I do this at this time, the result will be this and this. So it means that you are trying something against the normalities or against the system that is there, hoping to get a better result. But again, because you are not a small god in your own world, it means that you really don't know whether you will achieve the exact thing you are anticipating. Now, that one brings anxiety. You are excited, you are happy, you want to see, like maybe let's say those who are in love, for example, you have been away for years and years, and being absent is one of the ways of maintaining the power. Now, the day you will be coming home, let's say after 2 years, after 4 years, after 5 years, maybe those people are working like maybe the army men, they go for war, they go for fights several years before they come back. When they are coming back, they are overexcited, they are optimistic, and they are thrilled, they have euphoria, and because of this, what they are expecting develop anxiety in them. Number 6, denial. Now, this is the peak, maybe the lowest point of a worker or of a staff or of a colleague, because once you are excited and you have done something out of your own risk, you have anxiety. Now, this anxiety means it depends with the result, and results are always 2. Result number 1 can either be negative. Result number 2 can always be positive. Now, if it is positive, you are happy, thank God you have managed it. If it is negative, most of us become demoralized because it's like you have failed. But that's not the case. Both results should be able to be controlled or to be contained by a staff who perform that in the right way. For example, when you have anxiety, which is the feelings of unease, fear can be severe or it can be mild. Now, if you have anxiety, and this anxiety you allow it really to occupy your body, to occupy your brain, by the end of the day, you will even face psychological torture. Now, next time maybe we'll run an episode about how to maintain, how to contain these stages. Today we're just going over them so that at least as staffs we have to know the stages over which we pass. Then now, when the result is negative, you trend to deny. No one wants to fail anyway. And that's why you get that some colleagues at work, after doing a mess, when they are asked, they try to say, not me, it's so and so, because they at that denial stage, they expected positivism. Now, one of us, most of people, we want to be identified by positivity. That's a fact. That's a human being. No one wants to relate with failures. No one wants to relate with damages. Whenever something is damaged, when somebody is asked who did this and this, everybody is going to deny. But when something was good and they ask, we want to reward such a person who did this, everybody will be raising hand because it is a positive nature. Now, it is our power, I think, something created by God to be in us, just to be positive minded all the time. Now, when you deny, it means that your anxiety brought negativity in you. Now, when you deny something, you go to the next stage, which is stage number 7, the fear. Denial comes with the fear, because when you deny something, it's like you're trying to defend yourself. And again, remember, as a parent or a caregiver, there's an episode also I read concerning the children, the type of question or how to get issues from a child. If you want a child to explain to you exactly what happened, as a parent or a caregiver, don't ask questions that start with the word why. If you ask any question starting with why, it brings the defense mechanism nature. Now the answers or the explanation you will get from a child will be on dependency level. He or she wants to defend himself. But if you reframe the question and ask it like this, what made you, like, let's have these two scenarios and have similar questions. For example, a child has just come back home late. You sent him to go some hours ago. Now, when the child comes back and you ask the child, why are you late? That answer you will be getting will be defensive. And by the end of the day, you shall have not solved any problem. But if you ask the child, what made you come late? The same question, but from different perspective. What questions brings explanation or discussion? Why questions bring defense mechanism? Now, the same thing happened to the workers or employees. Now, if once you have been anxiety and maybe disappointed, you develop the denial nature. If you deny something, you don't know whether you'll be terminated or you will be recruited or continue to be absorbed in that workplace. There is that fear in you. What is fear? This is unpleasant emotion caused by danger or a threat. What is a threat? This threat is what was caused after the anxiety and then denial. Now, when you deny something, you don't know what threat awaits you. So it is this unknown threat or unknown result that again makes us fear. When you fear too much, you go to stage number 8, which is desperation. Now, this is where most of the stuff also get it wrong. You get that some of us, we do very funny things just to get promotions. We do very funny things just to get recognized. You want identities, like again, we are in teenage periods where we are struggling for identity crisis. Now, this thing also matters. And recently I was just told by one of the great speakers that, Mark, when you're talking to a man, always expect that boyish or boyhood to be in a man. When you're talking to a lady, make sure that you are also encouraging or embracing the girlish nature in that girl. It doesn't disappear. So the same thing also happened with the staffs here. Whether they were good performers, they are managers, they are in supervisory level, these are team leaders, always know that each and every man has a boy in him. Now, it is because of this boy in him that would sometimes make him behave like a child. Even though the Bible tells us that when I was young, I behaved like a child. But now because I'm old, yes, you are old, yes, but those traces of boyish are still in many of us. The way we laugh, the way we walk, the friends we keep, sometimes traces our background. So when you deny so much, you become fearful. When you fear too much, you become stage number 8, which is desperation. Number 9, when desperation comes in, what happens? You start panicking. And now I know up to this level, somebody who is following me now can even guess the stages that I'm going. You see, it's like a chain, you know? It's like a chain, and I like the way it's flowing. Because you see, you are optimistic, number 1. Because of being optimistic, you are becoming excited because of the future that is unknown. Then you are thrilled. You have a feeling of jumping into it today. You know, have you ever attended an interview, then they tell you I'll call you after 2 weeks? You are like, madam, why don't you just tell me now? Sir, I'm ready to start work tomorrow. That one is called thrilling level, where you want to jump into it now, not tomorrow. Our current generation, they are at a thrilling position where they want instant things. They want to cook rice, they want to eat rice, but they don't have time to wait for that rice to cook. That level is called thrilling level. Then from that, we develop euphoria, which is just a point of maximum action. Now you will take risk because of each and every thrilling power you have in you. Sorry for that. Then anxiety. After anxiety, you go to denial. Denial is depend on the negative result you have. When you deny something severely, you become fearful, and this fearful leads to desperation. When you become desperate, you panic. Panicking is a sudden uncontrolled anxiety or fear, meaning that this fear also has several stages. It's just like you have stress, apart from stress, psychological torture, then you go to depression. Depression can lead to death. Now, they also go, that's why we talk about being severe or being mild. It depends with each stage, but if the how do you call it? If the desperation or the stress continues so much, it's always advisable to see either psychologist or maybe go to any mentor or counselor or maybe your teacher, or go to hospital for proper guiding and counseling. It might help. Now, fear desperation, you panic. Then when you panic, number 10, you go to a stage that is called capitulation. Okay, I hope you get that word, capitulation. You can Google and know more about it. Capitulation simply means ceasing or surrendering. Have you ever wondered why a staff will just wake up in the morning and tell you that, sir, I am resigning? Asking, no, I'm just tired. What happened? No, I don't have to explain. If you studied these people kindly, they were undergoing certain stages. And these stages, if were not handled in the correct way, they reach a point of fear, they panic, then capitulation, where they will just resign without any proper meaning or any proper formula. It means that their heads are just full and they want to relax or either start afresh. Now, capitulation is a ceasing or surrendering. When you surrender, you become despondency. That is number 11. Low spirit from loss of hope, joy, dejection, family members, property. People lose a lot. Have you ever seen somebody who was maybe very rich, thinking rich 10, 15 years ago, but right now is very poor? To some extent, they never managed to undergo all these stages. But you are lucky, because by the end of the day, I am teaching you what you should apply and will help you move on. Number 12, from despondency, which is the low spirit or low hope or low dejection, you feel rejected, we go to depression. Now you see, it's like again we are winding, we are going back to the stages. No wonder I call it a vicious circle of life development of a staff. Now, depression, a point of maximum action opportunity. Depression is a mood disorder. It is a disorder. In short, it's a disease. Anything that is disordering your body system is a disease. So depression kills if you're not careful. When you deny something so much, you become fearful. When you become fearful, you become desperate. When you become desperate, you start panicking. When you panic, it can go to psychological torture, or directly it can go to what? It can go to depression. So this is a mood disorder that causes persistent feelings of sadness and loss of interest. Remember, I told you, when your attitude is poor, when your mood is poor, you better go back home and sleep. You better leave that job. If job is not giving you peace, leave it. Because we hire the attitude, we don't hire you. If your attitude is poor, forget about that work. Myself as a recruiter, I need a performer. When you come to my company, I need result. And that result will only come from your what? Will only come from your attitude. Then number 13, you go to hope. Hope, again, is a feeling of expectation or desire for Smith to happen. Now you see, in this depression, again, maybe you go treatment, you go rehabilitation, meaning again, in short, they are trying to bring hope to your life. That is stage number 13. Then number 14, when somebody speaks to you, when somebody preaches to you, when somebody teaches you about the goodness of God, when somebody brings that hope in you, you become relieved. You release the stress, you are ready to start afresh. And therefore, you will move to the first option again, which is optimism, meaning that you are ready to start afresh in another level or in the same thing. We normally say that failure once does not make you a failure. More you fail, the more you learn. Otherwise, I was your tutor, Mark Andedo, and thank you for accompanying me in this Tuesday Class Job Market episode number 60. Next time, let's meet again. We continue with our wonderful episode. Please keep on subscribing, keep on commenting, keep on sharing. May God bless you, and thank you for your support. See you. Bye-bye.